Welcome back. In yesterday's meditation, we considered Esther's request for Mordecai and other Jews to fast for 3 days and nights on her behalf before she went before King Ahasuerus to intercede on behalf of the Jewish people. As a result, God gave her favor before the king. At the end of the meditation, we remembered, though, that God is sovereign. It is His will that we ultimately want accomplished. It is His prerogative to intercede on our behalf or not. Today, I'd like to bring balance to our discussion by considering an occasion that we would not like to consider a positive account. Yet it is placed in the Word of God for us to learn from. If you remember, David was the shepherd king. He was the one who was specifically chosen by God because of his heart. David loved Yahweh. Yet David fell into great sin. In fact, he performed grievous acts before God. He committed adultery, and then he had Bathsheba's husband killed in order to cover up his sin. However, sin can never be hidden from God. Yahweh sent Nathan, his prophet, to confront David with his sin. We begin reading about this account in 2 Samuel chapter 12, beginning at verse 13. So David said to Nathan, "I have sinned against Yahweh." And Nathan said to David, "Yahweh has also put away your sin. You shall not die. However, because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of Yahweh to blaspheme, the child also who was born to you shall surely die." Then Nathan departed to his own house, and Yahweh struck the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became ill. David therefore pleaded with God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night on the ground. So the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the ground, but he would not, nor did he eat food with them. Then on the 7th day it came to pass that the child died. And the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, "Indeed, while the child was alive, we spoke to him, and he would not heed our voice. How can we tell him that the child is dead? He may do some harm." When David saw that his servants were whispering, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said to the servants, "Is the child dead?" And they said, "He is dead." So David arose from the ground, washed and anointed himself, and changed his clothes, and he went into the house of Yahweh and worshipped. Then he went to his own house, and when he requested, they set food before him, and he ate. Then his servants said to him, "What is this that you have done? You fasted and wept for the child while he was alive. But when the child died, you arose and ate food." And he said, "While the child was alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, who can tell whether Yahweh will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me." God is sovereign. That means He has the ultimate rule. He has the ultimate prerogative and right to decide whatever he chooses or to override any decision that I make. Yahweh loved David. We know that. He had made a covenant with David. And not only did he keep it, but he has kept it and shall keep it. For when Christ returns, he will return to sit upon the throne of David. However, we are told in Romans chapter 6, verse 23, that the wages of sin is death. And in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, we're told, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. David pleaded with Yahweh for the life of his baby. But God's judgment was final. David's sin would have a consequence. In his grace, God would allow Bathsheba to have another child, another son, whose name was Solomon, who would become the king of Israel after David's death. However, do not look past this occasion because it is hard to deal with. God has a right to say no for whatever reason, whether he shares the reason with us or not. However, I must know and I must believe that God desires what is best for his children. As Jesus ended his prayer in the garden, nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will, so must our prayers as well be ended. Even when we are praying and fasting. Again, fasting reveals the passion that I have for an intimacy with God and for the intervention of him in my life. I desire his will more than my own. Take time to pray. Entering into the presence of the God of the universe, who has given you the privilege of sonship, who has given you the privilege to entering in before him, as we saw with Esther, extending to you, if you would, the golden scepter. And giving you the privilege to ask for whatever you choose. But remember, he has the ultimate right to say no, if he knows that's what's best. So pray and have a blessed day.